You ever wonder why they want to see you crawl? Why they smirk when you stumble? Why they whisper behind your back when life's got its boot pressed against your neck? It's simple, really. They need it. Their lives are so hollow, so painfully empty, they rely on someone else's suffering just to make their own existence seem tolerable. They don't despise you for what you've done. They loathe you for what you might become. That's what truly terrifies them. Your potential, the very thought that you might rise again, that you might actually become something remarkable despite all odds, shakes them to their core. So they laugh, they point, they shove, they scheme, hoping you'll break, because if you do, they can avoid confronting how shattered they already are. But here's the irony. Every time they try to push you down, they're unknowingly handing you another reason to rise. Every bit of their spite, every fake grin, every knife buried in your back, it's all just fuel for your fire. Do you think God hasn't seen it all? Do you think he's blind to the betrayal, to the injustice, to the way they dragged your name through the mud? No. He saw it. He allowed it because he has something far greater in store for you, a stage they won't get to share. The higher he plans to take you, the steeper the climb must be, and trust me, he is taking you so high that they'll choke on the dust left in your wake. Ever notice how they act when you start to rise? The ones who never spared a second to check if you were still breathing suddenly crawl out of the shadows with their insincere smiles and empty words. It's pitiful. People only seem to care when they think they can take something from you. As long as you're suffering, they're content to watch from the sidelines, but the moment you start stitching yourself up, suddenly they're concerned. Suddenly they have opinions about your journey. Suddenly they want to dictate your path. It's a performance, and they are the actors, hiding behind masks so thick they've forgotten their own real faces. But you can't even blame them. It's human nature to resent what they can't control. They see you fighting battles they would have surrendered to, standing tall when they would have crumbled, and it burns them inside. They need you to fail, because every step forward you take reminds them of how deep they're buried in their own misery. They expected to see you perish in the pit, but God pulled you out. The very fact that you're still breathing is already a victory. But your journey isn't over, not even close. The best response isn't proving them wrong. It's living so well that they can't pretend not to notice. Look around. See all those people pretending they have it all together? It's a facade. Behind the tailored suits and picture-perfect smiles, they are drowning. Drowning in distractions, in vices, in lies, because silence terrifies them. But you faced the silence. You stared into the abyss, wrestled with your demons, locked eyes with your pain and never blinked. That's strength. The kind of strength they can't buy, can't fake, can't comprehend. You survived what should have destroyed you, walked through hell with your head held high and came out carrying scars as proof. Don't hide them. Wear them, make them look. Every scar is a chapter, every wound a reminder that pain didn't conquer you. If you truly want to make them pay, don't seek revenge, make them watch. Let them witness your rise. Let them come to terms with the fact that every time they tried to shatter you, all they did was refine your edges. God's plan for you was never meant to end with you on your knees. Ever wonder why the betrayal came from the people you trusted most? It's part of the process. Sometimes God lets them reveal their true colors, not to destroy you, but to expose them. You prayed for protection, and he answered by cutting people loose you were too blind to walk away from. Pain has a purpose. Betrayal is part of the design. You can't build a throne surrounded by snakes. God knew that even if you didn't. That's why they had to leave. That's why they had to wound you. Because you're building something greater, something they were never meant to be part of. Their hands are too dirty. Stop wasting time looking back. Stop exhausting yourself asking why. Let them slither away. They didn't betray you, they freed you. They didn't break you, they built you. You're not falling, you're getting ready to soar. And they'll tell you to forgive and forget, to let it all go. They preach forgiveness because it keeps you docile. But true forgiveness isn't about erasing the past. It's about using it as fuel for the future. Don't waste energy hating them. That's just giving them free space in your mind. Instead, take all that anger, all that hurt, and forge it into motivation. Let it be the fire that wakes you up early, pushes you harder, keeps you relentless. Make them regret ever doubting you. Make them wish they had believed. You know what's really funny? They think you're still the same. They think you're still that lost soul they once dismissed, still the naive one who didn't know better. They see you standing, but they don't realize how much crawling you had to do first, how much bleeding it took just to learn how to walk again. They cling to their outdated perception of you, because it's easier than admitting they were wrong. People fear change, especially when it forces them to confront their own shortcomings. They'd rather believe you're pretending, that your transformation is temporary, that you'll eventually come crashing back down to their level. But what they don't understand is that pain reshapes a person. It burns away weakness, strips away illusions, and forges something unbreakable. The person they once knew is gone. The one standing in their place is something else entirely. So let them mock, let them doubt. Their words are empty, their sneers powerless. They've already lost, and they don't even realize it yet. Those who abandoned you, who turned their backs when you needed them most. They thought they were teaching you a lesson, but all they did was strip away your illusions. They revealed the truth about loyalty, about friendship, about love. Their absence was the greatest gift they could have given you. See, loneliness isn't a curse, it's clarity. It forces you to confront yourself, to sift through the lies, to discard what no longer serves you. And maybe, just maybe, that was God's plan all along, to strip away every crutch, every distraction, every parasite feeding off your light, until only the raw, unfiltered you remained. The you that doesn't beg, doesn't bend, doesn't need anyone's approval to be great. And the most amusing part? They think you forgot. They think that because you don't speak on it, because you don't throw it in their faces, you've moved on. But you remember. You remember every knife, every sneer, every lie spoken with a smile. You remember who watched you struggle and did nothing. You remember who spread rumors instead of helping. But you don't waste your breath on explanations. Sometimes silence is the loudest response. Sometimes walking away is the most powerful statement you can make. You don't need revenge. Your success is revenge enough. Make them watch. Make them realize that every attempt to destroy you only propelled you higher. God doesn't sleep, and neither do his plans. A reckoning is coming. Not by your hands, but for you. Keep moving forward. Keep building. Keep proving them wrong without uttering a single word, because every step you take is a reminder that they failed. And that's the real victory. Resilience, grit, the indomitable part of your soul that refuses to wither no matter how many times life tries to bury you. It unsettles them, makes them seethe with envy, because every breath you take is living proof that they aren't trying hard enough. They mask their jealousy with criticism, their resentment with concern, hoping you'll swallow the lie and begin to question yourself. But don't. The louder they get, the more it confirms that you're on the right path. You never hear whispers about those going nowhere. You only hear them about threats. About the ones who actually have a shot at escaping the cage everyone else is decaying in. They don't despise you because you're failing. They despise you because you're enduring, because every step forward you take is a reminder that they surrendered too soon. And the truth is, most of them wouldn't last a single day in your shoes. They talk as if they've weathered storms, boast as if they've battled hardships, but storms don't shake you if you've never left the safety of the porch. Real pain isn't a story you tell for sympathy. It isn't a medal you flaunt to seem tough. Real pain is the burden you carry in silence, the weight that keeps you awake at night, the trembling hands when the memories resurface. It's the kind that leaves invisible scars, that makes you flinch at kindness, because you've learned the hard way that most hands reaching out come with hidden motives. They wouldn't last a day under that weight, wouldn't make it an hour with the shadows that haunt you. That's why they work so hard to bring you down. Because watching you survive what would break them is a reflection they can't bear to face. So let them talk. Let them pretend to understand your path. The truth is, the only one who has walked with you every step of the way is God. The only one who witnessed the nights you nearly gave up, the prayers whispered through swollen eyes, the battles fought behind closed doors. And he didn't bring you this far just to leave you now. Ever notice how some people only appear when they hear you're rising? They vanish when you're drowning, but suddenly resurface when you start swimming. They come around with false smiles, shallow words, pretending they care. But you see it in their eyes. They're not happy for you. They're unsettled. They can't stomach the thought of you thriving without them, of you shining after they left you in the dark. And the irony? They try to downplay your progress, twist their words to make it seem like you owe them something. They'll say they're proud of you, that they always believed in you, but the truth bleeds through every syllable. They never had faith in you. They had faith in the version of you that needed them, the one that wasn't a challenge to their fragile egos. But that version of you is long gone, buried beneath the shattered trust and discarded loyalty. You owe them nothing, not a smile, not an explanation, not a moment of your time. Keep your circle small and your vision sharp. God doesn't send crowds to fulfill his promises. He sends storms to test if you. And don't think the battles end just because you survived the last one. The higher you climb, the stronger the winds howl. The more you grow, the more enemies emerge. Some you'll see from a mile away, the obvious ones, the ones who never concealed their malice. But the dangerous ones, they're the ones who applaud when you succeed, yet whisper when you turn your back. You need discernment. You need to pray for eyes that see beyond the masks, for ears that hear what isn't spoken. Even Judas kissed Jesus before betraying him. Let that sink in. Betrayal doesn't come from strangers. It comes from those close enough to wound you where it hurts most. But God saw it all. He knew who would turn on you before you ever did. He knew which paths led to nowhere, which hands would let go when you reached out. And he allowed it, not to break you, but to teach you, to show you that the only foundation worth building on is him. People will rewrite history, will paint themselves as heroes, will pretend they were by your side all along, but God doesn't forget. The same ones who mocked Noah while he built the ark were the first to drown when the rain fell. And when you start to question why the journey is so long, why the trials keep coming, why every step forward feels like a war, Remember, the strongest soldiers face the hardest battles. The greater the calling, the fiercer the opposition. The enemy doesn't fight for empty vessels. He fights for those carrying destiny. You weren't created to live in the shadows. You weren't designed to blend in. You weren't pulled from the pit just to keep returning to the dirt. Every time they tried to bury you, they only planted a seed. And God has been watering it with every tear, every sleepless night, every whispered prayer spoken when hope seemed lost. So keep going, keep pushing, keep building, even when your hands are bleeding, even when your heart is breaking, even when God seems silent. Faith isn't about comfort. It's about standing firm in the dark with the words He gave you in the light. It's about moving forward when your entire being begs you to quit. It's about trusting that every door that shut was for your protection, every delay was for your preparation. You were chosen, not because you were the strongest, not because you were the smartest, not because you were the most qualified, but because you were the one who refused to quit. Because you were the one who would keep praying, keep believing, keep getting back up, no matter how many times life knocked you down. They wanted to see you fall, because they assumed you were alone, but God was with you the whole time, in the silence, in the struggle, in the breaking. He was building you while they were trying to destroy you. He was setting the stage for a comeback they will never see coming. So stop worrying about who is against you. Focus on who is with you. Stop wasting energy proving your worth to those blind to it. You have a purpose that demands your full attention, your full strength, your every step forward. Let them talk. Let them wait for you to fail. They've already lost, because the God who lifted you out of the pit isn't finished yet. This is only the beginning. So keep rising, keep pushing forward, keep proving them wrong without saying a single word. Let them choke on their own laughter. Let them regret every doubt they ever cast your way. Let them watch as God takes you places they will never reach. Because they wanted to see you fall, but God is about to lift you higher than they ever dreamed. And that, my friend, is the plot twist they never saw coming. And don't get it twisted. Just because you're still breathing doesn't mean the war is over. The hardest part of surviving isn't the scars, isn't the wounds, isn't even the loneliness. It's the battle within. The whispers that creep in when the lights go out. The doubts that echo as you take another step forward. You can be surrounded by people and still feel like you're fighting alone. Maybe that's the point. Maybe God had to separate you so you'd finally see that no one else is coming to save you. It's on you to rise, to fight, to claw your way out of the pit even when your hands are raw. That's what they don't understand. The ones who gave up, the ones who took the easy road, the ones who never dared to dream. They think you're stubborn. They think you're proud. But the truth? You learned the hard way that the only way out is through. And if that means dragging every demon that haunts you into the light, so be it. You're done running, done hiding, done pretending. The battles didn't leave marks. You are here, scarred, but still standing. And that alone is enough to make every enemy shake. Keep moving, keep rising. Let them choke on the silence as they watch you ascend higher than they ever dared to dream.